I'm going to be interviewing Kimberly Carroll, my wonderful, wonderful soul sister from Soul Coaching 12 years ago. She is now a coach for Changemakers, and she has been doing some wonderful work the past 11 years. And I'm going to quickly ask her to tell us a little bit about what she's been doing during quarantine, and then we'll talk about hope. And then she's going to lead us through a wonderful process to help us go through these difficult times. Hi, Kimberly, and welcome.
Hello. Hello, you lovely being. It is so good to see your face. I wish we could just hug right. Can we just do a hug?
Yes.
Can we just do it like a...
Yes.
Okay, good. We need more of those. Like,
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm hating about the pandemic the most is like, when am I going to be able to hug people again?
Same here. That human touch. I miss that the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Kimberly, tell me what you've been doing during the quarantine. Are you still in quarantine, or has it been lifted? And what have you been doing?
So here in Toronto, we are definitely the epicenter in Canada, but it's been pretty good. Like we've kept our numbers down quite a bit comparatively, like compared to the US anyway. And so we are still in a lot of sort of lockdown mode. It's starting to loosen a bit. We're allowed to go for groceries. We're allowed to go for a run. Most people aren't back at work yet. Most people are still working from home. The kids are not going back to school. And, we're waiting for our numbers to go down to be able to sort of start opening things up again. So I think Canadians are pretty cautious. We, tend to be a little bit more cautious than Americans. And so we are taking a lot more time. There's, for me, things change tons because I work from home anyway, except for the fact that my partner has also been working at home with me too. So we've had to navigate that a little bit, although he's in the construction industry. So his industry is allowed to go back. But yeah, I think, for me, as a coach for Changemakers right now, it's more important than ever that we be doing the good work to kind of make a difference in the world, to move the needle on these issues that are so important to our future, whether that's racial justice, whether that's the environment, whether that's animal rights, whether that's food insecurity. The folks that I work with, Nandinii, are really, they are entrepreneurs, they're leaders, they're activists, they're healers, who have gotten into what they do because they feel like they're called to make a change in this world. So the real difficulty, the real challenge right now is when this pandemic started, trying to sort of do activism or spread the word about something or change, people's minds. It was like yelling into gale force winds, like nobody had the bandwidth for it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what I have really tried to do, during the pandemic, I'm busier than ever just because I've really tried to step up and support my community of change makers so that they can step up as strong, loving presences during this time. Because these are the people that, like you, are leaders in their own sort of communities, and people look to them for guidance. Meanwhile, they're going through the same thing. We're all going through the same thing, right? We're all going through this uncertainty. And so, being able to coach them on not only on the practical level, like how do we keep making change? How do we change our approach? Maybe it's time to go inward a bit more. Maybe it's time to get better systems in place while we're on kind of hold, or maybe it's time to get more creative as to how to reach out to people. Also, how to deal with all the uncertainty that's coming up, all of the fear that's coming up, all of the hate coming up as well. I feel like my folks are like an army of loving, sort of world changers, and it's important that they be equipped to be able to get out there and again just sort of be a beacon of some of love, of groundedness, of what's the next step kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
tell me something. So what's the next step? Kimberly, what do you feel is going to be the next step, the way forward for us as humanity, not just your country or my country or one individual, but like together, what do you think is going to be the way forward from all this?
Well, I feel like, I mean, there obviously got two major things happening there, the pandemic and also the Black Lives Matter movement. And then there's so many other things too. Right now, I work with a couple of organizations, that the Toronto Vegetarian Food Bank, and we're dealing with food insecurity at an all-time high. And I
Yes,
also
and
work with animal justice.
we in India have terrible things happening with our migrant workers, migrant laborers trying to get home, not having enough food, starvation, walking back home for days. I think there's a lot of unrest, and a lot of the poor are really finding it difficult. The people,
Absolutely. I
people
mean,
who
it's
don't have
at the best of
money.
times, it's hard.
At the best of times, it's hard, and at this time, it's particularly harder for them. If you're privileged, if you have a roof over your head, and if you have money for food, that's fantastic. But there's so many people all over the world that don't, and it's heartbreaking.
And that's one of my hopes, is that so many more people that have been in privileged positions are not having to experience that at all, but they're being stretched, they're being pressed against the wall, financially, maybe just again with the sort of living with uncertainty. And I'm hoping that this will weigh a little bit deeper compassion in people, that people, I mean, our people that use our Toronto Vegetarian Food Bank, I mean, they get from the government, these are people that have incredible health problems, or they're new immigrants or refugees, and the only assistance they're getting is $700 a month. It costs $2,300 to rent a 1-bedroom average apartment in Toronto. So you can imagine what they're having to deal with. And so suddenly, I think people are getting a little taste of what it's like to live on the edge of it. And as sad as I am for that, I do hope that instead of contracting, that people use it as an opportunity to expand and go, okay, something's got to change.
Yes.
And I do think, as far as a way forward goes, it's really, your program is about hope, Nandinii, and I believe that hope is just a form of desire, a form of want, that believes that we can make a difference, believes that there is possibility. But hope without action is just head in the sand, right?
Absolutely.
Hope without action is just, I hope this happens. Okay, well, what are the actions you're going to take within yourself and in the outer world? What are the actions you're going to take? So I work with people on a couple of different levels. I mentioned change makers. Well, change makers are out there, they're making a difference, but some change makers are, burning themselves out. They are not coming from a place of sort of inner power. They're coming from a place of desperateness. So my work with them is to really try to root them, really try to help them connect to something deeper to fuel them. And then on the other hand, I also work with a lot of spiritual people, people, body, mind, spirit, enthusiasts, personal development people who have done a lot of work on themselves, but they haven't taken it out into the world yet. And that's the piece that has to change. That is the piece, that is where the promise of a better world comes from, is all these people that have actually gotten in touch with this sort of more expansive place in them. How do we teach them to take it out into the world, into very tangible action?
Yes. Yeah. That's very important. So Kimberly, can you tell us, what do you have to offer? Firstly, what do you have to offer with your coach for Changemakers, coaching for Changemakers? And would you do a process with us, a small process with us, like what you do with your clients, with the people that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I wanted to, well, I'll mention this at the end, but I've got a little course that people can download and do it for free and everything. We can talk about that at the end. But I think one of the things that I find especially powerful during times of struggle and uncertainty is being able to hold yourself, okay, at this time, being a loving partner, a loving ally to yourself.
Yes.
So we are all, usually pretty guilty of being really hard on ourselves. And we are usually, when the world is going to shit, sorry, excuse my language, and things are going wrong and maybe we're making mistakes, we often come back to ourselves and then we criticize ourselves. We sort of trash talk ourselves even more,
Yes.
and we make it worse. And I'm not saying that as, that we should let ourselves off the hook all the time, that if you do something wrong, that you should just say, oh, it's okay, you're wonderful. But to treat yourself like a beloved in your life, that would say to yourself, if something is going badly or you've done something wrong, to say, okay, sweetheart, let's just stop. Okay, this is bad, but you're not bad. Okay, this is bad, but I'm here with you and I will never leave you and we will work through this. Okay. And instead, we come back to ourselves and say, you're bad. This is wrong. How did you screw up? Why are you so weak? Why are you so anxious? Why can't you relax?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so that's been one of the biggest shifts that has happened for me over the years, is just that sense of becoming sweeter to myself, actually being a soft landing for myself. And again, it's not to say that, when I do something that is not in my integrity, I just say, you're a great person. I have a little serious talk with myself and I say, honey, and using words of affection with yourself is especially powerful.
Yes.
And I just say, honey, that wasn't in your integrity. You know that. What happened? What was going on? What scared you that it made you do that?
Yes.
And then I try to heal that. So I'd like to take you through just a really quick process that I call FACE, F-A-C-E.
Lovely.
And I'm going to ask you and our viewers, our gang here, to think about a scenario where they have felt just things have felt very difficult during this time, okay? Whether that has been certainty, whether you felt guilt about not showing up in the racial justice movement, in the right way, whether it is loneliness, anything that has been sort of weighing on you during this last, even just week, okay? So I want you to choose something and I want you to close your eyes. And let's just start with a nice big cleansing breath. And let's just shake out the body a little bit just to be able to get present and relaxed, and just slow down the breathing a little bit. And just feel the air around you. Feel the seat beneath you. And I'd like for you to just bring up this scenario that has felt difficult, that you've been struggling with. And I want you to make it as real as possible. And I know this doesn't feel good going into this stuff, but trust me, this is where you go. So this is the first phase of FACE. F for feel it. Okay, so in this scenario, where are you? What's happening? Is there interaction happening? Is there inner dialogue that's happening? And what are you feeling right now? Okay, just let yourself feel it. And where in your body are you most feeling it? Where is that sensation most located? Is it in your upper stomach? In your heart? Is it in the third eye? The root of your body? Just feel it and breathe right into that sensation. And then the second phase of FACE is A for ask. I'd like for you to bring your hands to where that was in your body, where that pain is residing, okay? Whatever that pain is, again, whether that's shame or uncertainty or worry. Bring your hands there tenderly and place them there. And now I want you to ask this place of pain, sweetheart, what's going on? What's really going on? What are you scared of? What's the story that you're telling yourself that's making you feel this way? And just listen for that little voice. And now, see your face is to bring a particular form of compassion to this place. So, what right now, knowing what's at the root of this feeling, what's driving it, what is the medicine? What is the energy or advice or action you could bring to this place? Maybe it's simple. Maybe you just need to cradle it and be soft with it. Maybe you need to say, come on, you can do this. You are stronger than you think. You can do hard things. Maybe it's just an energy of letting go. So checking in and seeing what is the energy this place most needs right here, right now. And breathing it in. Feeling that energy just wash over you. Feel it just pour into this place in your body and fill up your entire body with this energy. And the last phase of face is E, and that's evolve. So now that you are just embodied with this energy, what is the next step? What is an action or an inaction you could take? See it, visualize it. And let's take in a nice big grounding breath. And letting go with a sigh. And again, just shaking it out and coming back to eyes open. How you doing?
That was lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. I like tangible practices that somebody can remember. Like when you get in trouble, there's like, what was that again? Face. Okay, yes. When we get into a place of fear, high alert, we lose our capacity to grab for tools. So they have to be easy. Those tools have to come to you easily.
I'll never forget face. Feeling, ask, change, evolve. You can't forget
compassion,
it. Sorry,
evolve.
Feeling,
yes.
compassion. Because compassion is such an important thing.
It is. Everything starts with compassion, okay? Yes. Like even tough love sometimes, sometimes we do have to have tough love on ourselves and say, you need to get up and we need to do better. But it has to start with compassion. It has to start with, I love you. I'm here with you. I will never leave you.
And self-compassion is a very tough thing. It's taken me years to get there. I think it's taken most people years to get there. Self-compassion is one of the toughest because I think we're hardest on ourselves.
Absolutely.
We're hardest on ourselves.
And I think for, again, Changemaker high achievers, we feel like if we don't push ourselves, if we're not constantly needling ourselves, we will get complacent or we will get lazy and we will no longer be acceptable. We will no longer be doing our duty.
Yes.
But I want you to think about if you have a small child, and you're constantly saying to this child, what is wrong with you? You suck. Why are you so fat? You're so strange.
Yes.
Is that child going to want to grow and expand and get out in the world?
Never.
No, they're going to want to crawl up in a fetal position and rock back and forth. Absolutely. Or they're going to say, screw you. I'm going to sabotage everything you want me to do.
Absolutely.
Whereas right? And so, but if you speak to that child again with honesty, with candor, but with love, they're going to hear it, and they're going to feel your love for them, and they're going to want to grow into that.
What is a last bit of advice that you'd like to give everybody that you think?
I feel like we have two cornerstones on our life path, that we need both cornerstones in order to have a fully realized and fulfilling life.
Yes.
One is the pillar of being of service and of showing up and to try to leave this world a better place than when you came. The other one is to live your life, is to feel life, so that when you get to the end of your life, you can say, I was here, I was present, and I felt this, like I had a human experience. And we often are kind of go one way or the other. Yes, and yes. So to find that balance, so for everybody watching today, to ask themselves, which side was a little bit more heavy, and how can I adjust that? So if the side of your own life experience is getting heavy, then it's like, how can I start to take small bite-sized actions? Okay, is there just a little thing I could do every day? Like maybe at the beginning of the day, I could figure out a little service I could do, and make it bite-sized. You don't need to cure cancer. You don't need to have a cure for cancer to step up and make, change in this world. You can do it in your own unique way, in your own little corner of the world.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, if you are somebody who the service side is heavy down, like then, is really taking up a lot of the bandwidth, you need to really ask yourself, is it time to rest? How have I figured out how I can rest? How do I have enough supports in place for myself? Have I taken enough time to allow myself joy, to allow myself stillness, to allow myself to explore that part within me that is so much more expansive than the energy I keep recycling.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's just a question. Ask yourself which side you're on, and please give yourself, the love to balance that out a little bit.
Thank you very much, Kimberly. That was really very helpful. And I will put the link for your course for change.
It's called Power Tools for Changemakers, and it's a 5-part video series to really take people who are wanting to make a difference in the world and really giving them, doing the sort of deeper inner work, creating some like high performance habits and strategies for really empowering themselves and their mission.
That's great. So those of you who want to do it, I'll put the link below. That's lovely.
I'd love to see you there.
Yeah.
So good to see you, my dear.
So good to see you. And I'm so happy to have talked to you and to find out everything. And yes, this is a short interview, but I think we've learned a lot. And thank you, Kimberly.
Well,
that was
lovely. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Mwah.